Welcome to Herbally Yours, an adventure into the world of natural medicine. Here is your host, Dr. Ellen Kamhi, the natural nurse who will help you take the leap to ultimate wellness.
Greetings, and thank you for joining me, Ellen Kamhi, the natural nurse, for another edition of Herbally Yours, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Herbally Yours brings you the latest information about the many facets in the world of natural living. And today I am so happy to have as our guest Dr. Rudrani Banik. She is a medical doctor, board-certified ophthalmologist specializing in an integrative approach to vision. And she is also the author of the Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol. She is a fellowship-trained Neuro Ophthalmologist and the founder of Envision Health right here in NYC, those of you who are listening locally, which is a concierge practice specializing in eye health, neurological conditions, and migraine headaches. She is Associate Professor of Ophthalmology at Mount Sinai School of Medicine and is a member of the American Board of Ophthalmology's Exam Development Committee, and she contributes to setting the standards for board certification. To find Dr. Banik, you can go to rudranbanikmd.com, and we'll have all these links live at the bottom of our show. You can visit the archives anytime after you're listening today. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Banik.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Kamhi, for having me on your show.
Now, I'd like to define a little bit for our listeners because there is a big difference between yourself and, let's say, someone you would find just in an eyeglass store. What is the difference between an ophthalmologist and an optometrist?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up because this is a question I get from many of my patients. You know, what is the difference? So an ophthalmologist is a medical doctor. A doctor who has gone to medical school for 4 years and then done an internship and residency. That's another extra 4 years of training. So it's a total of 8 years of training after college. And many ophthalmologists have also done fellowships after their residency. So there may be another 1 to 2 years of additional training involved in their subspecialty. So, for example, I am a neuro-ophthalmologist. So I did an extra year of training in neuro-ophthalmology. Now, optometrists have gone to college and then they've done a 4-year optometry degree. And after that, they have their degree, which is an OD, and they are able to practice. Some optometrists do opt to do a residency after their training, so that may be another year of training after that. So there's a difference in the degree path. And in terms of what we actually do, so ophthalmologists take care of all medical and surgical conditions of the eye. So from the basics like glasses, for example, checking, the regular eye exam, doing glaucoma checks, checking the back of the eye, checking for diabetes, macular degeneration, and so forth. But we also take care of all the surgical aspects of eye care. So cataract surgeries, lasers, and many other types of surgeries and procedures. Optometrists, depending on which state they practice in, they can certainly diagnose and treat many ocular diseases, but most of them do not do any procedures. Again, it's really very state dependent. There are some states in which optometrists are allowed to do certain minor procedures and perhaps even lasers. So there's that difference as well. And in terms of prescribing, ophthalmologists can prescribe medications, and optometrists, again, depending on their state regulations, may or may not be able to prescribe.
So it varies by state in terms of that. But
yes.
I have walked past something that I have right here in the town I'm in Oyster Bay. Some doctor like yourself, she opened, it looks like a training facility. Because what is neuro-ophthalmology? I mean, it looks very complex. I never walked in there, but she has all kinds of activities all around on the wall, and then people in, I don't know, it just doesn't look like getting an eye test or an eye exam, something different.
Yes.
So why don't you explain to me, since this is new information to me as well, what is that field of neuro-ophthalmology?
Yeah, so neuro-ophthalmology is really, it's the intersection between ophthalmology and neurology. So it deals with all the conditions, all the connections between the brain and the eye. So for example, how we take in visual information and our brain processes that information. So in terms of resolution, color, motion, and then also all the signals that our brain sends back to the eyes and the muscles around the eyes that allow us to move the eyes, to move our eyelids and our face. So there's a constant interplay between the eyes and the brain. And what many people don't realize is that the eye is actually a direct extension of the brain. So it's very much interconnected. And as a neuro-ophthalmologist, I take care of a lot of conditions that have brain issues, for example, strokes with eye findings, brain tumors that have visual issues, traumatic brain injury, concussion with vision issues, and then also some autoimmune conditions that affect the eyes, for example, multiple sclerosis, thyroid eye disease. So this all fall under the purview of neuro-ophthalmology. Also, migraine is another major disease category that falls under neuro-ophthalmology as well.
So I see that she's not doing what people would normally think of as getting an eye exam. It seems like there's a lot of training involved because I see people walking around the room. You know, it's just a whole different field.
It is. It's possible that, I'm not sure if the doctor you're speaking about, if she is a neuro-ophthalmologist or neuro-optometrist. So neuro-optometry is a different field altogether. It's a subset of optometry where they do visual training. Now, there is a divide between our two fields, neuro-ophthalmology and neuro-optometry, because some of the techniques that are used in neuro-optometry have not been scientifically validated. So again, I'm not sure in terms of the office which type of doctor she is, but they may be doing certain they may be recommending certain exercises or other training, you know, as you described, that fall under the category of neuro-optometry. And sometimes it's called visual rehabilitation as well.
Okay, that could be it. Like I said, it's something that I just am not recognizing as it seems like something new. But I'm very interested in your book, The Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol. And I'm also looking at your beautiful website, Dr. Banik, and the website is at rudranbanikmd.com. It was very easy to find. And we'll have links to it as well, where you really go into a lot of the things that are special about your practice. And in terms of macular degeneration, is that one of the main reasons that people lose eyesight?
Yeah, so it is one of the leading causes of blindness, both in the United States and in the world. And the reason why I chose to write this book is because there are so many aspects of macular degeneration. There are different types of it, different classifications, different treatments, but there really has not been much emphasis on prevention of the disease. And what I found through my research is that the disease is mainly due to certain domino effect of things that happen. For example, oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, and inflammation. And these three things, these root causes of macular degeneration, can be prevented using proper nutritional interventions and lifestyle protocols or strategies. And so my book really focuses on trying to get this information out there. For example, what types of foods should you have in your diet that will help protect against macular degeneration, that can fight against that oxidative damage in the eye and prevent vision loss? And what else can you do in terms of lifestyle? For example, exercise and sleep and caffeine intake and stress management and toxins and detoxification. So my book really tries to cover all of that. And it really is, I would say, an integrative approach to macular degeneration. Now, most of my colleagues, I have some wonderful colleagues who are retina specialists who manage macular degeneration. They treat it once it's already caused vision loss. So almost as though, you know, they're trying to put a Band-Aid on the problem, the patch on the problem, after someone's already had, you know, significant vision loss from it. But my goal is really to prevent it from getting there. And again, it really has not been focused on, and that's really the purpose of my book.
That so much can be done ahead of time. Well, I want to remind our listeners, thank you for joining us today on Herbally Yours on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ellen Kamhi, the natural nurse, and today our guest is Dr. Rudrani Banik. She has she's located in New York City, and she is a board-certified medical doctor, ophthalmologist, specializing in an integrative approach to vision health and really, truly prevention. And she is the author of the Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol. You know, one of the wonderful things, Dr. Banik, about natural and functional approaches to healthcare is whatever your door that you enter it through. Let's say you know that many people in your family had macular degeneration, or you're just getting older and concerned about it, or God forbid you're starting to experience some. So you get very motivated to get your book, The Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol, which we'll talk about what that protocol is. But I can tell you ahead of time, whatever it is will also help your heart, will also help your brain, will also help your circulation. It's like any door that we enter natural therapeutics through, and whatever we are using it for, it also helps many other aspects, rather than a pharmaceutical approach which may address one measurable parameter, like bring down your blood pressure, but it doesn't help overall health. In fact, in most cases, it interferes with overall health. So that's something that's very unique about your approach.
Absolutely. You know, my goal is, obviously, it is to help people see better and protect their vision, but it's also to help them lead more healthy lives with vitality. And as you mentioned, you know, yes, the protocol is aimed towards vision health, but oftentimes people experience many additional benefits. I have had patients who are able to sometimes control their blood pressure or blood sugar enough that they can get off some of their other medications, for example, antihypertensives or diabetic medications. So, you know, this book is really to approach health more holistically and just promote healthy living, healthy nutrition, and lifestyle choices as well.
So let's talk a little bit about what someone would find if they were to get your book, The Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol. What would be some of the things you're going to be talking about there?
Yeah, so I really, the foundation of my book is if you feed your body the correct nutrients, then you can stave off a lot of these changes that happen in the retina that lead to vision loss. And the goal is really to have a diet that's rich in plants. And so I'm advocating really a plant-rich diet, not a plant-based diet. I'm not saying necessarily that one has to be vegetarian or vegan, but you should really have plants in your diet to protect your eyes. And these plants provide the nutrients that our eyes need to prevent against macular degeneration. And I should also say to prevent against many other forms of oxidative stress, for example, UV damage and blue light damage. You know, many of us are on screens for hours at a time, all day long, and we need to protect our eyes in any way we can. And so these nutrients, the three nutrients that are really important for eye health are lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin. Now, many people have probably never even heard of these nutrients. I mean, they're hard to pronounce, they're hard to say, they're a mouthful, but these nutrients are pigments that are located in the back of our eyes, in the retina, and they act as our natural eyes' blue light filters. So rather than wearing blue blocking glasses or getting a screen filtering app, these pigments absorb wavelengths of short wavelength, high energy blue light, and they neutralize them. And the way that we can get these pigments, unfortunately, our bodies cannot make these pigments. We can't naturally produce them, but we can get them through foods and perhaps even through supplementation. So the foods that are richest in these pigments, these carotenoid pigments, include green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale, collard greens, even romaine lettuce, also yellow and orange fruits and vegetables, yellow peppers, orange peppers, corn, and even paprika, which is a spice, is rich in zeaxanthin and lutein as well. So it's very important to have a diet which is rich in all of these different colors of the rainbow to provide your eyes with the nutrients they need. Now, the unfortunate thing is that our bodies, again, we can get these nutrients from diet, but most of our diets are substandard or subpar in terms of providing all of this nutrition that we need. So it's been estimated that most of us need about, for lutein, 6 milligrams of lutein a day, or perhaps even more. And most of us are probably only getting 1 or 2 milligrams at the most, even with the best diets. People who do have a lot of these fruits and vegetables in their diet, they're simply not getting enough. And for zeaxanthin, we need about 2 to 4 milligrams of zeaxanthin a day. Most of us are getting less than 1 milligram a day. So in this situation, it really is important to supplement. And in terms of eye health supplements, there are many, many on the market. And I've researched, through, in the process of writing my book, I've looked at over 40 eye health supplements on the market. I've looked at their formulations, their ingredients, their dosing, their bioavailability. And what I realize is that there are many different formulations out there. There is no ideal supplement, but in order to get the pigments that you need to protect your eyes, the lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin. By the way, mesozeaxanthin is not readily found in foods, unlike the other two. So we really do need to supplement for that particular nutrient. It's best to look for an ingredient in the supplement that has all three. And the ingredient that is the best, that's actually been research backed, is called Lutamax 2020. And you can see it'll be on the label of the supplement. So again, it's in many of the different supplements on the market. Lutamax 2020 will have the three pigments and in the ratio that's naturally present in our diet. So it's a 5-to-1 ratio. It's a marigold extract. It has excellent bioavailability. And again, I would say, is probably one of the best ways to safeguard your vision against macular degeneration, as well as blue light and UV light as well, and protecting against digital eye strains. So look for that ingredient, and that will be, I think, the first step for many people in terms of protecting their eyes.
Yes, and in fact, you did mention, and there's a well-known study that's quite mainstream, completely accepted, not only by functional medicine, and it's called the ARED study, ARED. That people can actually look up, where they looked at the fact that these nutrients are required and helpful. When we talk about lutein, I was so excited that you mentioned marigolds, Dr. Banik, because we actually teach people how to go out and collect their own plants and make both medicinal and foods from them. And we do use marigolds and calendula as food and as herbal extracts. And one of the things it is so high in are these exact nutrients that you're talking about. I personally love a supplement that's made by Nature's Answer, because it's a liquid, and it's actually called Nature's Answer Eye Care. Just that word, EYE, care, C-A-R-E, formula, because it's completely natural and it's a liquid and it's very high and it has that tangy flavor because it's so high in many of these things, which are also bioflavonoids. So wonderful, wonderful information. Now let's go to that blue light, because you brought that up a lot of times. And boy, oh boy, with our current situation, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm living on my computer because of the COVID situation, and we've all been locked in the house so much. Tell us about blue light, Dr. Banik.
Yeah, so this is a very opportune topic, as you mentioned. So prior to the pandemic, most of us were spending hours a day on a computer. It was estimated that the average U.S. adult spent about 11 hours a day on a screen.
Oh my God.
And for children, it was estimated to be 6 hours a day. This is, again, before the pandemic. And now that we've all shifted to, many of us are working from home, our children are homeschooling, we're connecting with family and friends via devices, and we're probably watching more television and streaming. So our blue light exposure and digital screen time has gone through the roof. And so I'm actually not looking forward to seeing what the new numbers will look like, but I can only guess that they will be significantly more than prior. So, all of this blue light exposure, digital screen time and blue light exposure can really cause short-term effects on our eyes. Now, there is no evidence yet to prove that it causes long-term damage, meaning it will not blind us, it will not, permanently cause damage to our retinas, but certainly it can cause short-term side effects. And
well, wait, Dr. Banik, wait a minute. Is that possible that we don't know the long-term, because this has not been around or even studied for like 50 years yet? yet. I'm old enough to where there was no cell phones. It's not that
Yeah.
long ago. So it's a
Yeah,
whole
so
phenomenon.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's a very good point, meaning that we just don't have data for long enough to know really what the long-term implications are. I'll just mention that there was a study published in 2018 which really caused many alarmist headlines about blue light and permanent damage to our retinas. So researchers took cells, they put them in a petri dish, and they exposed them to very, very high levels of blue light. And what they found was that the cells died. And so they extrapolated that this blue light will ultimately damage our retinal cells in a way that they will die. Now, I'll just break down that study because you really have to take it with a grain of salt. So the cells that the researchers took were not even eye cells. They were not retinal cells. They were cervical cancer cells. And the reason they use those cells is because they grow very well in a petri dish. They put these cells in the petri dish, expose them to high levels of blue light. And these cervical cancer cells don't have the innate blue blocking ability that our retinal cells have. They do not have lutein. They do not have zeaxanthin. They do not have mesozeaxanthin. So again, these three eye health pigments, the protective pigments, are not present in cervical cancer cells. So again, the study, you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. It does not represent what happens in real life in the human body. Our eyes have this innate blue blocking ability. And so again, to get back to your question, we do not know what the true long-term effects are, but I'll tell you that if blue light really did cause permanent damage, we would begin to start, as ophthalmologists taking care of eye care issues, we would begin to see more issues, and we're not. So that is reassuring in a way that we are not seeing more long-term, more incidence of certain conditions, for example, macular issues other than macular degeneration from blue light exposure. So I am hopeful that long-term there will not be really detrimental effects to our eyes, but again, only time will tell.
So that is really excellent information, and I'm happy that you feel that way because you are certainly an expert. Now, the blue light comes naturally from the sun, correct? But then there's other blue light that comes from the computer screen, from staring at the smartphone, and you have a beautiful whole layout on it. I'll just tell our listeners on your website at RudraniBanikMD.com, where you talk about, like, an article about blue light protection. So there's different blue light, so that's a confusing issue as well. Is it harmful from the sun?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because blue light is everywhere, and the highest source of blue light in our world is the sun, and that's actually healthy blue light. It helps to regulate our sleep-wake pattern, our circadian rhythm. So basically, when the sun rises in the morning, it sends a signal through our eyes to our brains that it is time to wake up. It's time to get up, get started with the day. And then as the sun courses through the atmosphere and then it begins to set in the later course of the day, less blue light comes from the sun and we're exposed to less blue light, which helps to release melatonin, which is a sleep hormone, and it signals to our bodies that it is time to get ready for bed. So again, that is the natural cycle of blue light that we should be getting from the sun. But when we're exposed to artificial sources of blue light, and again, there are many artificial sources of blue light, not just our screens, our phones, our tablets, our computers, our TV screens, but also our light bulbs emit blue light. So many of us have switched to using energy efficient bulbs like CFL bulbs, compact fluorescent bulbs, or light emitting diodes, LED bulbs. But these bulbs end up emitting more blue light than previously used incandescent bulbs or even.
So wait, that's a very important point because I go around on the internet and to thrift shops looking for those old incandescent bulbs, which I don't even think they're being manufactured anymore.
Yeah, they're hard to find now. Exactly.
So you're saying those new ones that they're selling, although they're more energy efficient, they actually give off more of this deleterious blue light?
Yes. So a much higher percentage. And incandescents hardly give off any blue light in comparison.
They also have less, lead or mercury in them when we dispose of them.
Yes.
So why did we move the entire culture to use these new ones which don't seem better?
Well, I think the focus was really on saving energy and being more efficient. So yes, in that respect, it is better for our environment, but it may not necessarily be better for our health. And so this artificial blue light that we're exposed to basically all day long, most of us, can interfere with our sleep-wake pattern. It can make it more difficult to fall asleep, stay asleep. And again, it can cause digital eye strain, which I didn't talk about the specific symptoms of digital eye strain before, but I can mention them now. So it's a constellation of symptoms that includes trouble focusing, blurred vision, dry eyes, light sensitivity, sometimes even headaches, neck and shoulder pain. So this syndrome can happen when we're sitting in front of a screen for hours at a time. And again, the best way to counteract this syndrome is, I can't stress this enough, is to provide our eyes with those innate blue blockers that are in the back of our eyes, those pigments, the 3 pigments. We can also take breaks on the computer. We can take breaks I like the 20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break by simply closing your eyes and, letting your eyes lubricate, not allowing that blue light to come in through our eyes. That's another way to do it. But going back to nutrition as the primary way to protect our vision, to safeguard our vision, that's the most important. And daily eye health supplement is just so important. And, using that Lutamax 20/20, I use it myself. I have my family take it. Even children, it is so important for children to get those nutrients. And I know it's difficult to get children to have some of those healthy fruits and vegetables, and it's hard also to get them to take a supplement. But there are gummy forms of the supplement that are possible for children to take. They taste good. They're almost like candy. My daughter loves them, actually. So simple, easy ways to protect against blue light and digital eye strain.
Well, thank you so much. We're coming to the end of our time together, Dr. Rudrani Banik, but just want to shout out your book once again. It's called The Macular Degeneration Prevention Protocol, and it's good for everyone of every age, whether they're, a senior like myself or a youngster like your daughter. It's a great time to start, and whatever you do to help your health, in terms of protecting your eyes, you're also doing good things for your other organs and body systems. That's one of the things that's so wonderful. And now you see people in your practice as well.
Yes. So I have a practice on the Upper East Side, and I also do quite a bit of teaching and research at Mount Sinai. So I like to say I have the best of both worlds. I get to see patients and teach and promote the field by doing research as well.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest today, right here on Herbally Yours, and wishing you the best and health and happiness and safety to you and your family.
Well, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to be here.
And thank you, listeners, for listening to Herbally Yours, once again, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Listen live online at nccradio.org or on iHeartRadio. For more information on today's guest or topic, email us at whpc@ncc.edu. or get in touch at naturalnurse.com. Say hello personally. Join us again next week for another edition of Herbally Yours. Until then, stay healthy.